Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a very small video on coloring a galaxy background. Again, I once did one, but it was in a bad video format and I thought it would be nice to do a decent new one. Um, I've colored the top part already, or diluted the neocolor 2 crayons already on the top part. And as you can see on the bottom part, I've scribbled down my colors. It doesn't look very beautiful, but that doesn't matter because you dilute everything of the colors with water. For the new colorists that are not familiar with Neocolors 2, these are water-soluble crayons. And if you use them for backgrounds or for coloring in with a base layer, um, especially for backgrounds, use enough pigment because otherwise you will have some blotchiness and not very opaque coloring. So I've put down quite a lot of pigment with the Neos for this background. If you just use them as a base layer for skin or clothing, you can layer a smaller or a thinner layer, because normally you will add shadows and extra detail with a regular colored pencil on top, and then it's not that important that you lay down a very thick layer, but for backgrounds it's better to provide the page with enough pigment. Now for this background I've used three colors of blue: a dark blue, a medium kind of blue, and a turquoise blue. You can use every color you like. You also can work with a pink instead of a turquoise, or you can make it as funny or as special as you want. Now in the past I played around with the pigment using my fingers. That was a technique invented by a lovely colorist who sadly passed away suddenly. I think it's 2 years almost. Always coloring. She dabbed with her fingers to give a bit of structure on the pigment, but now, since I'm coloring a bit longer and using the Neos more often, I use the water brush as my dabbing method. From time to time I can use a finger, but most of the time I'm just playing around with a water brush. So if you play around with different colors, it's best to start off with the lightest one. In zones or areas where you have multiple colors. Of course, I started this page with at the middle of the page, I shall say, and that was just a regular blue. But on the bottom I've now first diluted the turquoise blue, because otherwise if you move your darker pigment into the lighter color, it will be less visible. Now of course it's up to you how much you play around with every pigment. If you think that the light color is too visible or too big of a spot, you can always put on some of the darker color if you like. And I'm sorry that a part of the book was not visible on camera, but I do everything the same as I'm showing on the parts that are visible. I'm just mixing. Now I realized it. I'm just mixing the pigments and playing around with the texture. This page is colored in. She's already finished now, whilst I'm doing this voiceover for this video. she was done for the halfway to Halloween coloring color along hosted by the bibliophile colorist. I still have to put her up on Instagram, but I wanted to do that after putting up this video, or maybe just before, so that people who are interested in using the Neos in a galaxy style can take a look on Instagram how the finished page is, and then switch on over on YouTube if they want to. And now I'm using that lighter pigment again because I have multiple colors around that color and I don't want to make it too dark. And on that area where I'm putting the pigment down now, I wanted a bit of a darker turquoise, so that's why I dragged a bit of the light color into the darker blue one. So it's really up to you and how you're feeling the page and what you want to achieve. And the Hannah Lynn book hasn't the thickest paper, but I really like using neocolors on that paper. It's always fun. It turns out like I want it to, and yeah, I don't have any problems with this paper whatsoever. It's just great to work on. And Hannah Lynn is always fun. I really adore her artwork. Now, if you want some cloudy effects, because I see that I'm doing some horizontal strokes, if you want a cloudier effect, dabble around with the pigment. And there's my hair. Dabble around with the pigment instead of making just strokes. If you want a strokey effect, of course that's very okay, but I think for a galaxy background you really want more, this structure that you're seeing now on this page. And we're almost finished. And of course, if you're done and you think that some areas have not enough pigment, you can always grab your neocolor crayon and take some of the pigment right off the brush with your water pencil. So I really like how it's looking. I have darker areas, I have lighter blue areas, and all with the texture. And now I'm grabbing some pigment, and again I was not aware that my book wasn't totally in focus. My tripod has a bit of another angle now, and I must watch out if I'm doing a video that it's grabbing the whole book in frame. But you get the picture. Grab some pigment of that crayon and dabble around on your page for extra intensity, or more diluting, or I just thought that side needed a bit more of the turquoise color. And I'm doing the same on that right corner. And that's about it. This is my cloth. Very important if you're working with neocolors, because you don't want your brush to be too wet. So, and even that the paper is quite thin in this book, you hardly have any bleed through. I will show you it in just 1 second. You see a little bit of bleed through. And then of course my pumpkin, which was marker based. And that's our galaxy background. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Bye!